I'm looking at what kind of men are we going to have 20 years from now? What kind of men are we going to have in the year 2060 and the year 2070? Are we going to build more children with beards and mustaches, children who are capable of making babies and wreaking havoc and abandoning people? Or are we going to build men who have an accountability and a responsibility for the broader community, who say, yeah, I didn't make this whole mess, but guess what? I'm strong enough to help clean it up. Right? I think that building men in the latter category is how you build a strong black community. I think that's how you build strong families. I think that's how you create a community where your daughter has somebody great to marry. And the one important element of building these men is you got to make sure that they are financially capable. You got to make sure that they're financially literate. You got to make sure that they're financially prepared, because a black man who is financially prepared, who knows how to make money in many, many ways other than just begging a white man for a job, is typically the kind of man who can come through and be the benefactor for the community that many of us need, right? He can come through as the superhero. He can be the Michael Jordan that can score points in the clutch. Michael Jordan, if you think about him as just as a basketball player, not as a person, let's put that to the side, as a basketball player, because Jordan prepared so well and because he prepared himself to be the greatest player in history, Michael Jordan was so good that he would literally look at the guy at the end of the bench and he'd say, I'm gonna go win a championship ring for you. I'm gonna get a ring, and I'm gonna get extra rings so you can have one too. Because I know you can't win a championship. And so rather than me complaining about that, I'm just gonna go carry this team on my back and make this happen. And I think that we can have men like that. Right, I think we can have men who literally just have the ability to make things, to manifest things financially, and they're not going to have to argue over low vibrational conversations like who's going to get a cheeseburger and who's not. I don't want to have to make a decision. In fact, it would make me feel incredibly crappy as a human being to have to feed one child because I'm scared or I can't afford to help feed the other four. Right? Because or to be so petty that I'm caught up in thinking, well, the reason these other four can't eat is because their own parents should be feeding them. Whatever. I don't know. Again, not everybody's going to agree. Some people are going to say that you only have to take care of what belongs to you, and I understand that. But and again, my bias is that I was taken care of by a masculine man named Larry Watkins, who where I was not his biological son, but he loved me as if I was his own. And the ROI for him is that my loyalty to him means that as he got older, there was nothing that he didn't want. Anything he wants right now to this day, I will go buy that for him because I appreciate the fact that he stepped up for me in a world where so many men are being taught that you don't have to step up for nobody but yourself. So that's my 2 cents. I know it may sound biased and judgmental, and if you disagree, you have every right to disagree. But I personally think that but these ideas are not uncommon. Think about this. Think about how many women there are that teach in a school where they use their own money to buy school supplies for the kids that can't afford them. Think about how many football coaches or track coaches there are out here who do what I used to have to do. I used to coach kids in the hood in track and field, and some kids would show up for the field trip and have no money for food, no money for a uniform, and never once did it cross my mind to say, "Well, screw you. I want you to suffer because your parents didn't do what they were supposed to do." I didn't think that way. The way I thought was, okay, let's take you to Walmart, get you some clothes for the trip, whatever, right? Whatever was done. But that's the other thing too. Remember, part of the reason I was able to do that was because I'd prepared. Similar to how Michael Jordan prepared to be a great basketball player, my goal was to prepare to be a great black man. And so my preparation for being a great black man meant that I spent many years in school. So by the time I finished school, by the time I was coaching those kids, I was making six figures, which meant that I was then able to step in and do these things, right? If I was not prepared, then I may not have been able to do these things. So what I'm saying to you is this: look, some people do whatever they can. Some people do what is required, right? And I think in our community, we don't need people that can just do what they can. We need people that are going to do what's required. But the thing about doing what is required is it helps if you can do what is required, and that's the issue, right? Some people just do what they can. I think they have a rap lyric where they say suckers do what they can, but then you got people that do what is required, right? What is required means we just gonna figure this out. But what helps is when you can do that which is required. And a lot of our people just can't do it. A lot of our brothers, I hate saying it, but a lot of them can't do it. Well, why is it? Why is that? Well, because nobody prepared them. Nobody they just trained them to be rappers and basketball players and whatever the hell they're training our boys to be. And I personally think our boys should be trained to be wealth builders, entrepreneurs, and investors. Because I don't know a single man who runs a successful business who's doing well financially who wouldn't buy an extra cheeseburger for their daughter's best friend, right? And what I really want those guys to understand is the tremendous amount of power and what's the word, fulfillment you get by knowing that you can be one of the neighborhood dads that's really coming through for the kids whose parents aren't coming through for them. And if you want to know my perspective, I am one of those dads. I hear our kids and they talk about their friends and the crazy situations their parents put them into. And I told my wife, I said, I need us to be a rock in the community. I want us to be the stable family where the child knows that they can come to our house and they're going to get something different from what they're getting at home.